Hey everybody, time for another midweek chat. If I don't get it this time, I'm just giving up. This is take 3 and the storm clouds are coming in, so I was trying to rush. And can you tell where I am? I am at St. James, right? Yeah, and these are our hibiscus plants that are doing real nice. They're kind of in their prime. Maybe on last Sunday they were in their prime. So I wanted to show them off. I'm real proud of these. 3 years ago I was on my bicycle on West Vine and I went by a house and some land and it had a bush like these, and the flowers that I like to say are big as Buicks. And I think they're like 9 inches, at least 8. And we got to get one of those. So I called Louis. I put it on Facebook. Anybody ID this flower, know what it is? And most people said it's hibiscus. So I'm like, oh, all right. So I called our master gardener, Louise Roach. Can we get some hibiscus? Can you plant them? You got a spot for them? And she said, yeah, sure, you buy them, I'll plant them. So that's what happened. 3 years later, here they are, Sometimes we have trouble maintenance. This is where the kids wait for their school bus at the end of the school day. They'll be back, hopefully, in less than a month, And sometimes they like, kids like to play with stuff and maybe poke at things. And yeah, I got to train them to leave the hibiscus plants alone because we had a nice white one with red stripes and they kind of tore at the roots a lot while they were waiting for the bus. And so we don't have that plant anymore. Once I showed them this cool anthill over there about 30 feet. It's just big, tall anthill and the ants are all over. It's just fascinating to me. I said, hey guys, want to see something neat? And they came over and within like 2 seconds, they're all stomping on the anthill to destroy it. I'm like, oh gosh, you guys. So love your neighbor as yourself. They didn't apply it to the ants. I'm not always nice to ants either, but anyway, we try to deal with our instincts to destroy and try to build up instead, huh? It is Summerfest weekend, and we'll talk about that in a second. Maybe I should do that first. Well, a couple things. Guess what they were doing in the gathering space today? The ladies of the PCCW, some of them, Lisa and Connie. There's some others, I can't remember who they were, but they were making Christmas cards. Can you believe it? Christmas cards for our homebound. So they'll take cookies and poinsettia plant and these cards, homemade craft cards. And they thought, well, Chris, it gets so busy in December. We want to do them now so they're ready in December. So that's the forethought. That's the spirit. I could learn from them for sure. So thanks for them for doing that. I thought a little bit of Christmas here in August. Oh, I wanted to mention, so what I do with these, after they the wilt, and as soon as they wilt, I pluck them off, and I take them to Sweet Driver Chocolates, because a couple of years ago, I was at Sweet Driver Chocolates, and I go, what's good, and Becky Flynn runs the shop there. She said, well, try these, they're hibiscus chocolates, and the beautiful dark chocolate on the outside, and you open it up, and it's kind of a light, slightly chalky pink cream in the middle, so it wasn't like a wet, gooey cream. Anyway, it's the best chocolate I ever had. I said, hibiscus, what's that? She said, it's a flower. And so now I take these flowers and I take them down to Sweet Driver and she uses them in her chocolate. So I'm pretty proud of that. It's a win-win situation as far as I can tell. It's starting to thunder. Boy, I wish I hadn't had to start these videos over. Youth, I think, are bowling today. So we got crafts for the homebound being made, and our youth had a little invite today. Kelly had planned a tubing or a kayaking deal a few weeks ago when I was in Seattle, and then there was a big storm that day, so they canceled. She was going to do it today instead. The forecast wasn't good, so we'll just go bowling. But I was going to show up and I forgot. So a lot going on today with Summerfest. Maybe we should talk about Summerfest. Oh, I just want to mention Linda Schultz. She taught here for years and years and years, kindergarten, second grade. She was our representative on the Regis School Board and things like that. And she's just here a lot. She's like doing everything from janitorial stuff to helping unpack boxes to just being a good cheerleader for the faculty as they show up and get their classrooms ready. The hallways are finally done, the polishing up of the floors and things. And anyway, Linda Schultz, you know her, a lot of you love her. She's just so dedicated to Catholic education, to the church, people, so it's great. I just want to do a little hats off to Linda because she's been here a lot in the last few weeks, just doing whatever needs to be done. It's really great. So Summerfest, here it is. First time I had to start over because I forgot this paper. So Saturday, basically, it'll be outdoor mass. Do please bring a lawn chair if you come. Christine said, how many people do you think come to outdoor mass? 100? And I said, well, no, I think at least 200. I think when we have outdoor mass, like at 6:30, it's an extra mass, then maybe we get 50 to 75. But since this is our regular Saturday mass, I think, it used to be under a tent with the chairs set up. I think for sure we got 200 then, so I don't know if it went down. So now it'll be more open air in the yard behind the rectory, just over that way. And it'll be that tradition, to have the mass outside on the weekend of Summerfest. So, but it won't be at 6:30 outside mass. It'll be at 4:30 regular time. So not inside. If it rains, then we'll be inside. And then there's going to be a great meal. It's pulled pork, pulled turkey, your choice. Gordy, I think, is making. No, other people are making that. Gordy's making the potato salad and the mac and cheese or the baked beans or something. And Christy and Sharon and others are making the pulled meats. It's really just a good comfort food meal. It's really excellent. So it's not to top the chicken dinner, our main dinner on Sunday that Beth and her minions are pulling together for us. And there can be takeout for that, but you got to show up and buy the dinner, and they'll just put it in a takeout container. I've heard it's $12. I'm not sure. But it's good. It's the chicken. It's that corn from Jim Olwelling's farm. I think he's in Alaska. I saw something on Facebook today, but I hope we got his corn before he went to Alaska. And I want that Saturday picnic. I'm going to get my guitar out, play a little bit. And if it rains, I think I'm just going to keep this thing going, and I'll walk inside and finish. Can you tell it's picking up, the storm? So at that, we'll have an outdoor mass, and then we'll have a picnic. And then I'll play my guitar outside, play some songs. Last year I did some Elvis songs because of the movie was out and everything. I don't know, I'm trying to block the wind, but maybe it's not working. So that's Saturday, outdoor mass, and then a nice dinner with a little dinner music that I'll try to provide. Then Sunday, I'll just kind of read everything that's going on. Registration for the car show begins at 9 a.m. Ticket booths will be open at 10:30 a.m. for tickets, so you can get tickets to buy food and kids games and stuff like that. 11 till 1 is the chicken dinner. I think I put 11 till 1:30 maybe in the bulletin, but Christine probably corrected that. No pre-orders, just like I mentioned. 11 till 2, there will be a caricature artist, free. You can just sit and have a caricature made of yourself. I haven't done that yet. There's usually quite a line, so I let other people do that. I'm kind of afraid a caricature of myself might look, maybe, is the truth. Cheese curds, 11 to 3, silent auction. Dean is our cheese curd guru, but also John Hempel, I know, has a shift in that, so that's good, and with his wife Marilyn. Thanks everybody who's been volunteering. You still can definitely volunteer by getting a hold of Christine or check out the website. Cornhole tournament. I didn't know about it. Rich, can you play? I don't know if we can. I don't know. I'll have to find out more about that. 2 years ago, Rich and I won because Rich is good. Last year we couldn't pull it off because our neighbors beat us. Lutke's. Anyway, but concession. But maybe they're on vacation this weekend, so we'll have a chance. We'll see. Concession stand and beverages. That's 11 till 4. A lot of this is 11 till 4. Bingo, 12 to 2. Listening sessions. Pastoral council members will be there to listen about what people think about. Here comes the bus, you guys. The wheels of the bus go around. I always like the bus. I always wave to the bus guy. There it goes. Every 30 minutes, there's a stop right across from church. So if you don't have a car, that's no excuse. There's face painting and family games from 12 to 3. Oh, the listening sessions, pastoral council members will be out there just getting feedback about the parish. Pot of gold raffle, Plinko for pastries, live music by Moonshine, 12 to 4, all that. balloon artist from 2 to 4. He makes like poodles and things, swords, crowns out of balloons. Oh, it's starting to rain. Go! And silent auction items pickup from 3 to 4. So that must mean the silent auction ends at 3. And then the raffle drawings will be at 4 o'clock. That's always exciting, right? So that's good. Oh, you guys, I'm gonna definitely have to go inside, I think. Can you believe it? I don't know, maybe it'll blow over. Don't be afraid. Jesus says, don't be afraid. Should we go in? I guess we should go in. Let me go in though. I can't stand to start it over again. There you go. I'll just carry it with me if you don't mind. I'll try to not touch it because last time I moved it, it turned off. That's why I had to start it again. So here we go. Okay. I have something in my mouth, so I can't talk right now. Okay. Good. Not locked out. Oh. Okay. All right. This will be nice, right? So, hi Brian. I'm live. Yeah. There's our great custodian Brian here. Okay. So, now. All right, did I get through all the Summerfest stuff? I think maybe. So this is our great gathering space. I don't know if you've ever been in here, but it's a nice place. We gather after Mass and do all kinds of things here. I can't imagine St. James without it, though I heard when they built it, it was a little controversial because it cost some money. But what an important room in our parish life. Sometime maybe I'll go around and do a tour of the art in this room. It's really, really nice. Some really nice stuff. Okay, I want to mention a couple things. I think that's all the parish news. Oh, next year, I mentioned a little about youth, just a little quick heads up. Next year, Kelly is thinking about doing a service trip through the Franciscan Sisters of Perpetual Adoration in La Crosse, and it sounds great what they do. And so she's planning ahead for next summer right now. So I'm excited about that. I forget what they call it, Giving Hearts or something like that. But I read the materials on it. It's really good. There's a cost. It's like $450 a person. But maybe they would do some fundraising and things like that. But anyway, that's a long ways off. I want to mention, I got a letter a couple weeks ago from Ann Bohr. Remember Ann and Steve? They were such great parishioners here. Now they're great parishioners at Joan of Arc Parish in Minneapolis. They moved. But she just highlighted that there's this staff member at their parish who's actually she's called the spiritual director of the parish, which is an interesting title. And she's going to participate in the Worldwide Synod in the Vatican in October. Oh, it's really starting to rain now. You can hear it even in here. Would have been kind of fun to try to stick it out, but it would have ruined my camera, I suppose. So, the Archbishop of St. Paul, Minneapolis, nominated her to the Vatican to be one of the 4 lay representatives from the United States at this synod. It's just that it's a worldwide listening session. It's not like the people are making decisions about stuff or whatever, about really the experience of people. I was a little disappointed here. Some Catholic media outlets are really kind of putting this thing down. They're like I don't know. I think Pope Francis has been such a open, joyful leader. Some people feel like he's maybe trying to change things that shouldn't be changed, and so they don't like him that much. It's too bad when the church sounds a lot like politics, but I guess politics is everywhere, you know. But anyway, her archbishop invited her to go, and that's pretty exciting. Her name is, Cynthia Bailey Manns. And so anyway, so if you hear about this synod coming up in October in the Vatican, it is really blowing. Can I just show you this? This is like a tour of the weather. Boy, what if I'd stayed out there? Look at this though. Can you tell? Can you tell? That's just like super. That's our carport, so it's kind of protected, you know. But it's fun to be inside, watch storms, isn't it? So anyway, if you hear anything about the Synod, that I just think, you know, why be afraid? I mean, the church is like a family, isn't it? Sort of like we're a community, and there's signs of healthy families and signs of unhealthy families, and a sign of an unhealthy situation of families when you can't talk about stuff. You know, don't bring that up around Dad because it won't go well, or don't bring this up, and that's not, you know, that's not free. That's not unconditional love. That's fear, and we don't want church to be a fear-based organization, right? So it's just kind of, it's an opportunity to kind of hear what people's experiences are and listen. And Pope Francis, I just think, is very good about that. You might have heard that, and again, this threatens some people, but other people think it's great. I think it's great. He was at the World Youth Day in Portugal, right, last week. And his big theme right from the beginning was, I want you to know that in the church, the Pope says, everybody is welcome. Everyone is welcome in church. It doesn't matter where you've been, who you are, you know, what you've done, you are welcome to come into our Catholic Church. And he had them repeat. You know, I think he had a good time. Portugal, of course, they have their own language, Portuguese, but it's pretty close to Spain. So I think he talked a lot of Spanish, and that's his first language. So I think he's pretty darn good at Italian too. But he said, todos, everybody is welcome. Todos, todos. And he had like the 50,000 youth out there. Repeat after me, todos, 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 todos. So that's the vision. And of course, that's what's on our signs here at St. James. So you can feel like you're in sync with our universal leader when we say all are welcome, right? So, he also he gave a homily on the Transfiguration. So the end of World Youth Day was last Sunday when we had the Transfiguration Feast, August 6th. And he said they should shine. He said, youth, when you leave here. So on Transfiguration story, they're on the mountain. They have the vision of Jesus transfigured with Moses and Elijah. And then Peter kind of wants to stay there. But Jesus is like, oh, no, we gotta go down. So they go down the mountain. And so he was comparing, I think very well, the experience of being at World Youth Day and getting kind of excited about the gospel and church, and to the mountaintop experience. He said, now we got to go down the mountain. Now you go home. And I want you to shine. I want you to listen. And I want you to not be afraid. That was his message to all of the youth. And at first I thought he meant listen to other people, but he meant listen to Jesus. But part of listening to Jesus, he tells you to listen to other people too, I suppose. But I thought that was good. And just a couple quotes. I mean, just off the top of my head, like to shine. That's really a beautiful thing. It means to be fully alive, right? Back when we had St. Irenaeus Day in June, I mentioned the human person. The glory of God is the human person fully alive, shining. It means we're confident. We know that we have something to offer the world. We know that we're loved. We're comfortable in our own skin. We feel accepted, and so we can accept others. That's shining, you know. And then to listen, to be attentive to Jesus, who is the source of that light with which we shine, right? The unconditional love, ground of love in our being. And then to not be afraid. I'll talk about that in just a second. But he said this. He said, that's what we need in life then. Not fame, success, or money, but the realization that we always have Christ at our side. That we can start each day and end each day certain of the Lord's embrace. We can begin each day and end each day certain of the Lord's embrace. You know, sometimes Catholicism gets criticized for not encouraging a personal relationship with God, and maybe that's been the experience of some Catholics. I know when I was in campus ministry, you'd have a lot of good Catholic kids come out of high school and come to college, and they knew church, they knew Mass, they knew the sacraments, but they probably didn't really have a real, what they call a personal relationship with Christ. Or kind of an emotional experience with Christ. And, well, I mean, you just can't say that if you listen to Pope Francis, that we don't encourage that. Begin and end each day certain of the Lord's embrace. Man, it is raining out there, you guys. I want to show you this. I want to talk a little bit about fear, too. Look at this. Isn't that something? It is just really. Hope we don't lose any timber. But this is sheltered, so out there it's not sheltered. Wow. I don't know if this is a big system or. Wow. So personal relationship with Jesus. Yeah, Catholics want you to have one. The Pope has one. He wants you to have one. He wants you to begin and end each day confident in the Lord's embrace. And then he's talking about fear. I mean, let's talk a little about fear in general. So last week, because it was Feast of the Transfiguration, remember they fell down in fear when God spoke from the cloud, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I'm well pleased. Listen to him." And said they fell down on their prostrate, very much afraid. And then Jesus touched them and said, "Rise, don't be afraid." So we heard "don't be afraid" last week. Well, this week we're going to hear "don't be afraid" again, because it's back to the ordinary time readings. And 19th Sunday, I think. And it's Jesus walking on water. And they think he's a ghost, and they're afraid. And he's like, "Don't be afraid. It's me." And then Peter says, "It really is you. And tell me to walk on the water." And Jesus says, "Come on." And he does, until he feels the wind. He takes his eyes off Jesus and he sinks. The lesson there is obvious, I think. Keep your eye on Jesus. And then at the end he says, why is so little faith? Don't be afraid. So 2 weeks in a row we'll hear that message, don't be afraid. Maybe think a little bit about, hopefully I can get some even better thoughts before the weekend, but why are we afraid? I mean, there's to me there's two types of fear. There's like just fear of survival, like good fear, like I shouldn't go outside right now with golf clubs waving in the air. That'd be foolish. I remember I was in Toronto once, and I was walking on this CN tower, Canadian National, and it had a glass floor over part of it. And it's like the tallest freestanding structure in North America, I think. So you look down into where the Blue Jays play baseball, Toronto Blue Jays, and I could hardly do it because you're afraid. Oops, this thing is. I've been moving this around too much, haven't I? But sometimes fear keeps you from doing dumb things that could hurt you, so it protects you. But then we have this other fear that is just protecting our egos or our self-image. And that's maybe the most prevalent fear in our lives. I remember that one of the worst nights of my life, definitely worse things have happened to me and people that I love, but I was with an organization called Channel in Seattle, and we had to call donors and ask them for money. And I was one of the last days, so I got like the worst leads. Got this big pile of things. I just called people. They were not polite for the most part and just hung up on me or said, not interested. Or even if they were polite, they just said no. I think I got one guy that pledged $5, and I was happy, But it was just a tough night. And then I was reflecting on it. It's like, well, why do you feel so bad? You're doing something good. You're trying to raise money for a good organization, and you gave your time and effort. But I just felt terrible. I could be proud of myself, and I think it was that rejection. I think I was kind of afraid of rejection, and I got a lot of it. It was kind of my ego. Like if you say no to me, you're saying I'm not good, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not, ego kind of stuff. That's why I can't stand. I'm still so appreciative of people that were able to respond in a friendly manner, at least, whether or not they could offer much to our capital campaign last year. I just hated. I hate asking for money. It's not a strength, but it just seems like something pastors should do. So I'm kind of embarrassed about that. If I talk to neighbors and I'm talking to them, I'm not shy about saying I'm pastor here, and why don't you come over and check it out? You're very welcome. But if I had to, and maybe I should, if I had to go like door to door and knock, and that would be really, really hard for me. And I'm embarrassed about that, because that just seems like something that followers of Jesus do. That certainly the apostles did that. But there's this fear, there's some insecurity inside that when the door gets closed, or if what I'm saying, my invitation is not accepted, that somehow I'm not being accepted. Anyway, I don't know if you have those fears or I'm just neurotic, but I think it's pretty common. People fear failure because they think they're not good, and so they don't do stuff that they are not good at. They fear rejection, like I just talked about. Some people fear emptiness, so they're always just on their smartphones and stuff because they can't be still. Who am I if I'm not doing something? There's just all these kind of fears. And so Jesus says 2 weeks in a row now for us, don't be afraid. If God is for us, who can be against us? That St. Paul writes to the Romans. So I'll just close with another quote from the Pope here. Well, I was going to say about like salespeople, I give them credit. Because they got to hear no all the time. I guess they make a pretty good living, a lot of them too, so I shouldn't maybe feel too sorry for them. But I have a hard time doing that for a job. Anyway, so as far as fear goes, Pope Francis said this in this last homily on the Transfiguration. He looks at the youth and he says, I would like to look at each of you right in the eye and say, do not be afraid. Now I will tell you something even more beautiful. Jesus himself is now looking at you. He knows what is in your heart. He smiles at you and tells you once again that he loves you, always and infinitely. So do not be afraid, for the Lord loves you and walks by your side. You can maybe rewind that and hear that again. Maybe that's what you need to hear today. But I think all of us have to encourage one another not to be afraid, because a lot of us are. A lot of us have little fragile egos, even pastors out there. So, but that's why prayer is so important, to try to ground ourselves each day. Just like he said, to wake up and to go to bed at the night knowing that Jesus is at your side and that his love is there with you. And if he's for you, who can be against you? It's good. It's good stuff. Okay, so sounds like maybe the storm is settling down a little bit. I hope I didn't make people dizzy or anything, but I am glad I came inside. Wow, it was really, really blowing there. So Summerfest comes. I hope you can come. I said, Christine, what do you think? And she goes, I just hope people come, because a lot of people have worked on it, and I just hope people have a good time, and we have a lot of good community experience today. So, all right, let's just have a little chant maybe. We did this one at Mass today. So at Ubi Caritas et Amor Deus Ibius Est. Where there is love, there is God. So. Ubi Caritas et Amor. Ubi Caritas Deus ibi est, ubi caritas et amor, ubi caritas Deus ibi est, ubi caritas et amor, ubi caritas Deus ibi est. God bless you, everybody. Don't be afraid.